Hey everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 317. Today we're going to talk about Yardmaster. This is a new release from Crash Games. It's a quick little card game. It plays 2 to 5 players. It's got some very interesting elements. The box says it takes 20 minutes. It's never taken 20 minutes for us. It always seems to go a little bit longer with that. Let me jump into how it works and I'll give you my thoughts on it. So in Yardmaster, the players are going to be building trains. And as you can see from the box cover and the components, the artwork has a very terse feel to it. It's almost like Soviet propaganda style, but I really like it. It's got a definite unique look for a card game. First thing each player is going to do is take an engine card. And my edition comes with a mini caboose expansion. I'm not sure if all of the editions will come with that, but if you do have the caboose expansion, you're going to randomly deal each player a different colored caboose. Each player will also get a random 2-for-1 exchange token, and they'll be using this throughout the game to get better deals on the rail cars that they're going to purchase to add to their train. After randomly figuring out the start player, the player to the start player's right is going to be dealt the Yardmaster token. Now the way that the Yardmaster token works is as follows. So normally you get 2 actions per turn. You may draw a card, buy a rail car, but when it gets to the player with the Yardmaster token's turn, they get 3 actions. And so they can do 3 actions so that you can kind of set up for a big turn, because what happens is you actually pass the Yardmaster token to the right. So play goes clockwise, the Yardmaster token goes counterclockwise after the player who had the token takes their turn. So as that sucker comes around the table to you, you can kind of be gearing up for a big turn. It takes a couple of plays to kind of get used to, but it is definitely a cool part of the game. So each player sets up their engine, their random exchange token, and the random caboose. And the object of the game is to buy rail cars and add them to your engine and to your existing rail cars. And you can see here we have 2 purple automobile cars, each worth a different number of points. The object of the game is to get to either 18 points if you're playing with 2 or 3 players, or 16 points if you're playing with 4 or 5 players. Now there's a couple of rules for adding rail cars to your existing train. You have to either match the color or the number of the previous card. In the center of the table, you'll deal out the rail cars. There'll be a deck of rail cars and then 4 face-up rail cars from which the players can buy. If you're playing with less than 5 players, you also put any extra exchange tokens into the center of the table. You'll also place the deck of cargo cards and then draw 1 card and put it face up to create the discard pile. And then you'll deal each player 5 cards from the cargo deck. And you'll be using these cards to purchase the rail cars to add to your train, and these cards will also contain different bonus action cards that will change up the gameplay. So there's a few actions you can do on your turn. You can draw new cards, you can buy rail cars, you can exchange tokens with other players or with the center of the board. So let's go over those actions real quick. So if you want to draw new cargo cards, you can either draw the top card of the discard pile or draw off the deck. Next, you can purchase a rail car from the center. Now we see here a 4-point red car and a 3-point green car. To purchase these cars, you've got to discard cargo cards matching the color and the value of the car. So in this case, we would need to discard 4 red cars to be able to purchase this 4-point livestock car. Now let's say, for argument's sake, that we only had 3 red cards, but we had some green cards and we have a green exchange token. So if we wanted, we could discard 3 red cards and 2 green cards. So you'll discard those cards and then take and add the new rail car to either your train or your storage area. Now if you don't have any rail cars yet, you have your engine, and that acts as a wild car. So you can add any car of any color to the start of your train. However, keep in mind that after this happens, you need to add either the matching color or the matching point value to the previous car in your train. If you can't do this, then you go ahead and put the newly purchased car underneath your train into your storage area. You can store as many cars as you want here, and then optionally on a later turn, you could actually merge them into your train. So in this example here, say we've got a couple of cards stored up in our storage area, and then we decide, okay, we're going to put the 2-point green into the train because it matches the green that we just purchased. And now we have a big trigger effect. We can put the 2-point red because it matches the point value, and then of course the 4-point red because it matches the color. You can really set yourself up for a big turn. You might try storing a bunch of one color or a bunch of different colors, or as much a variety as you can. And then once you get that one purchase, and you have a big trigger effect, and then you get a bunch of points. Now, the way that the game ends is as soon as somebody hits your target number, so if you're playing to 18 points, as soon as I get 18 points, then bam, the game's over immediately. Nobody gets any more turns. So you've really got to watch out what people are drawing, what they're buying, what they have in their storage area, what they're getting set up. So you may actually even spend some cards just to buy a card and keep it away from a player, because you can see, oh, if they buy this on their next turn, they're going to play it, they're going to trigger a bunch. Now, remember, everybody starts with a caboose. So the caboose you hold until you can play it and cap off your train with it. Now, you can only play it if it's legal, of course, if it matches the color of the number. And by playing it, you're going to hit, 18 or 16 points. The last action that you can do is to exchange your exchange token. Now, you can either exchange your token with those in the center of the table or with another player. Finally, let's talk about the bonus action cards. Now, there's a variety that come in the box. This particular edition that I have comes with 2 sets, and these are just shuffled directly into the cargo deck, and you can play these. These don't normally cost an action to play, and they do a variety of cool effects. You can play them anytime on your turn as long as you haven't used your last action for the turn. It should be noted that you play these cards to the discard pile, and if the top card of the discard pile is one of these action cards, you can see these all have X's on them. That means you cannot draw that top card from the discard pile. If somebody wants to go draw for an action, they've got to draw off the top of the deck. And that's pretty much how you play Yardmaster. So a couple things to note. First of all, the whole draw pile thing. Very interesting how that works, because you can draw off the top of the deck or the top of the discard pile as long as it's not an action card. So if somebody pays 4 red to buy, a 4-point rail car, well, there's a bunch of red there that you can just draw right off the top of the deck. So maybe you've been hoarding red, maybe you've got a red exchange token, and there might be other red rail cars out there in the middle to buy, so you can easily, get one out. So you've got to be careful about how you play those cards. And the whole Yardmaster token rotating is also very interesting, because you can kind of sit and wait till it's your turn to be the Yardmaster and then do a big turn. So you can really sort of play cat and mouse a little bit, sort of try to play quiet at the beginning of the game, and then everybody's kind of trying to rush at the end of the game. And really, this game kind of reminds me of Splendor in that way, where you have this sort of first couple turns are just kind of rote a little bit. You're just drawing a couple of cards, trying to get your feel, try to figure out a path through to victory. And then, people have started to build up a few more points. They're getting a little bit closer to victory, and you've got, some action cards that you've been saving for the right moment. And then the hairs on your arms start to stand up a little bit, because Billy across the table, he's going to end it, in a couple of turns. So you've got to be prepared to also end it. So it's simple. It's very well illustrated and designed graphically. I really do enjoy the graphics of it. And, it's hard to express, because the gameplay is so simple, how interesting the game really is. And so it's very Knizia-like in a way, I mean, not in the best way possible, where it's just, numbers and matching and colors and stuff. It's almost like Uno. People compare it to Uno, but I mean, Uno's horrible. This one is actually, a good solid design. So I would definitely recommend this game, and it has that sort of sublime, sort of pure element that Splendor has. There is a little bit of luck to the game, of course, as a card game, but every time that I felt like I kind of got screwed by the flop of the cards, I kind of felt like I did that to myself, where maybe I'd built up a big set of cards in a turn, and then I pushed them all up because I, played that card that would trigger it. And then, like, I had a 3 green out, and there was no 3s and no greens in the middle of the table. So you can really set yourself up to be flexible against the flop as well, which is an interesting part of the game. So anyway, that's Yardmaster. Definitely take a look at it. It's a nice, good, lunchtime filler game. Thanks.